Hello, it is me, your nightly newscaster, KMG. Now, I know the lighting in this room is absolutely atrocious, but you're just going to have to deal with it. My little ones, you are meant to suffer. Hello, and we are going to begin tonight's talk about voter suppression. What is it? How badly is it? And what can we do about it? So first, what is voter suppression? The idea in a democracy is that people should vote. People should take the ideas that they have, the problems, the issues, and interact with their government. It's what makes democracy so strong. If it's impacting the people, it's impacting the state. And that is what is most important. All of us. So that when people interact with their government, it actually creates a nice system where government can react to problems and then new problems arise and people have to deal with them and then they can go to their government. It's a cycle. It's a system. And it works. Most of the time. Well, people don't like other people voting because reasons. Big reason was race. When black people get the power to vote, they have the ability to remove people from power who are, well, racist. Also, same thing goes for women, removing people from power who were sexist. And the same thing with homosexuals getting the ability to live freely within society. The more disenfranchised the group that you hate is, the better off you are. So, what is the problem with voter suppression? Well, one, it causes a lot of issues. For example, when African American communities are going through very hard times and they have no one to turn towards, especially in government, it can cause a severed relationship that can last even to this day as BLM protests are growing huge. Another problem with voter suppression is that it also causes voter apathy. People feeling like the government is not a place that they can turn to solve their problems. And when they themselves can't solve it, for example, like potholes or the poverty that they have in the community or the lack of available recreational structures like parks, it turns out that people run into a never-ending cycle of the world is just bad. The idea that the problems they have aren't actually solvable, but instead are just a part of their natural life, which isn't true. And if people have this belief, then they're only going to therefore interact with it in that sense and push it along to others. Problems that now could have been solved with simple policy changes now seem like an inevitable piece of society, which they aren't. A big portion of this, or a good example, is mental health when it comes to the police. A lot of people think that when mental health came along and mental health became a big conversation, a lot of people thought that it was inevitable that conflict would arise within these groups, the police. I mean, they're not mental health professionals, and that this is just a normal part of life. That when you can't properly act, sometimes it's going to get you in trouble. But when people actually advocated and interacted with their government to create a cahoots program to actually deal with mental health better and mental health crises better, then there was actually huge turnover in the way that people looked at the issue. Suddenly money was saved and better results were had. I believe out of the 24,000 calls made to the Cahoots program, the police were only needed 150 times. That's less than 1% of total calls. It's impressive and very important. Finally, what can you do? Well, first of all, interact with your state and local government as much as you can. I know a lot of people love to actually turn to federal powers, but that's not actually as important as you think. A lot of the issues that we face today could actually be addressed by our state government. The problem is that people are very wary. They think the big stage is where everything happens. And don't get me wrong, they make a lot of very important decisions. But your state government impacts your life a lot more. So it's very important that you and your family and your friends get registered to vote and get interested in local and state politics. When's the last time you've talked with your sheriff? When's the last time you talked with a state representative? When's the last time you've heard a speech by your governor? These are important things to do, to interact with government and to believe that you can make a difference in your neighborhood. Change is possible. You only have to interact with it. And that's what makes voter suppression so dangerous. It destroys that ideas in communities. We can change that. Starting here, starting now. This is your nightly news, even though it's bright. See you all again. Have a good night.